What's happening, folks? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Tuesday. It's May 6th. Hope you're well. In this video, we're going to be discussing high tide. I'm also going to bring up the HITI chart. We'll take a look at the technicals and the price action, what to expect there in the next days, weeks, months ahead. Before we do, spoiler alert, there is something big brewing, I believe, both in the chart and behind the scenes in the industry. And I think it's a combination of a few things right now. We could see some reform in the US, but also don't go sleeping on Canada. We'll discuss all of that and more. But before we do, make sure smash the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. And speaking of X, this was posted on the High Tide page today. But they're talking about yesterday. Their founder and CEO, Raj Grover, had the opportunity to engage directly with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. High Tide remains committed to working with all levels of government to combat the illicit MJ market and support a thriving legal industry. Now, you have to pay attention because words mean things. You have to pay attention to the words here in this post and the timing of it all. What happened recently, Organogram, the MJ Council of Canada, has been reaching out and really voicing their support for the industry and basically calling out Mark Carney, saying congratulations on the victory in the Liberals last week, but also saying, hey, it's time for change, right? We need to support this industry. It's almost 7 years now. I mean, realistically, 7 years isn't that old for a new industry, especially MJ, right? There's a lot of regulatory red tape and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we're almost a decade here into this thing. And something's got to give soon. We know that the prior leadership under Trudeau basically said that, this was like 3 years ago, said that it's time that we support this industry. The MJ Council of Canada said, we have to switch excise tax from a flat rate to a percentage fee. It doesn't make sense anymore. It's antiquated. It's just, it's completely out to lunch. Companies are dropping like flies, right? CCAA filings, bankruptcy filings. You have not just producers, but retailers struggling as well. And then they continue to talk about the illicit market, right? How it's thriving as well. So again, all of this is very timely with the new administration at the federal level, and then him meeting with the Premier of Alberta, and again, using those same talking points. So I think something big is brewing here in Canada. And you have to remember too, the international markets right now are completely booming. We have Germany, growth there has been incredible. You've got other European countries as well. You got the UK. Even Australia has been seeing tons of growth as well, and a complete sea change and paradigm shift here in Canada, right? It used to be oversupply, and now it's not enough supply. And even just in the last year alone, wholesale pricing of MJ has doubled. So we're on the cusp of something big here, not just in terms of technicals and what the charts are saying, but I think, fundamentally speaking, behind the scenes and from a regulatory perspective, we're on the cusp of something big here. And we'll see what happens. The budget, the federal budget is due to be out here really any time now, so we should see an update on that the next few weeks and months at the most, I would think. But yeah, I think excise tax. They talked about going from one stamp, from 13 different stamps for provinces and territories as well. That'll cut down on the regulatory burden and cost as well. But overall, I do think that we're on the cusp of something big here. And then even in the U.S., right, we could see Senate staffers are saying that there's about a 90% probability that banking gets done at some point in 2025. So if we get enough catalysts here strung together, some rescheduling, we know that Terrence Cole, the new pick to lead the DEA, has voiced a couple of his opinions, and he basically said, we're going to follow the science and going to follow the data, and we're going to put this to bed once and for all, right? And that's going to be one of his main priorities is getting it rescheduled or figuring out what to do with regards to rescheduling, right? Can't go on forever, but again, I've been a very strong believer that they're just trying to kick the can down the road as long as possible. They can't. There's no way they're going to completely destroy the industry, right? The train has left the station. You're not going to undo what is done. But what they can do is they can slow it down so that the big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco can get their filthy paws all over it. And then once they're ready, they'll let the industry flourish, right? And they'll come in, scoop everybody up for pennies on the dollar, and that's just how it always plays out with every new industry for the most part, right? I remember Mark Andreessen, there was a video of him on the Joe Rogan podcast, And it had to do with AI. And the government was basically saying, yeah, no, don't even bother starting an AI company. Like, there's only going to be 2 or 3, and they're going to be government controlled, and don't even bother. Like, we'll just completely, like, we'll sue you. They do this to every industry, right? They've done this to crypto, but we'll see what happens here. We're on the cusp of crypto legislation as well. It would be something if we get some sort of MJ banking crypto bill all done in one sweep, but I don't think that's the most likely scenario. But, as an MJ channel and a crypto channel at heart, I would love to see something like that, but not going to hold my breath. But again, don't go sleeping on Canada. There's some major things brewing, in my opinion. And we'll also take a look at the chart here on high tide. So we did have a daily bull flag that confirmed. We had our low, we had our high of the bounce, a brief higher low, and bull flag. And then if you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, it's saying the target is $3. We did get as high as 244 and started to pull back here again. So we'll see if we can continue that momentum. But as of right now, I'm just a little skeptical. I'm not sure if this is going to be the most likely scenario, if we're going to continue to play out here. The S&P 500 has been a little rocky. The rest of the sector has been a little shaky as well. If we zoom out here to the weekly time frame, we're still in a weekly downtrend. So this decreases the odds of that daily bull flag continuation, in my opinion. We had key weekly resistance there at 247, and anything on this weekly oversold bounce was just a lower high compared to 247. And we topped out right at 244. I would say it's at least 2 or 3 weeks away before we see a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So the fact that we're still in a weekly downtrend, still a couple of weeks away before we see those weekly EMAs cross bullish, and we still haven't changed the weekly trend, but we very well could here if we form a weekly consolidation and a higher low here on the weekly time frame. So key support right now is going to be 233, and then resistance at 244. So if we lose 233, then weekly consolidation underway. Then we'll look for a higher low, potentially around $2, just over $2, and change that weekly trend, see the weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, and then head back up to around that $3 mark is what I would envision is the most likely scenario. Could we just go straight to $3 from here without changing the weekly trend? Absolutely, it's possible. I just don't think that's the most likely scenario. I think what's more than likely to happen is over the next week or two, we start weekly consolidation, pull back to around that $2.10, $2 area, and then, like I said, get that higher low, change the weekly trend, and continue higher from there. We just had a weekly MACD bull cross as well, but again, wouldn't be surprised if we flip. We're now flipping the 10-week moving average into support, so we get above it, no longer acting as resistance. We also had 3 weekly candle closes above it, which is great. But now we're more than likely due for a back test, confirm it as new support, old resistance into new support, technical analysis 101, and then trend higher from there. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, I would say we're at least 2 or 3 weeks away as well before we see the weekly 50 and 200 weekly moving average bull cross. That would be the first in history, and that would be a massive signal that we could, over the next couple of months, there could be some massive price appreciation coming for HITI. On the daily time frame, we just had a death cross, but the good news there is we got that out of the way. And over the next few weeks, we could see a potential golden cross with the 50 starting to curl below the 200-day. And if they were to cross here in the next few weeks, that'd be a golden cross. But again, favoring that we could see a little bit more downside here in the short term. And the major reason for that is just based on the weekly time frame. We have no support all the way down until $1.64, and we're still in a weekly downtrend. So the most likely scenario is this lower high forms. We could even see a type of equilibrium, right, where we tighten up over the next few months, something like that, and then we get a bull break or a bear break. But as of right now, I'm expecting this daily bull flag to fail. Essentially, I think that we're more than likely going to top out here, and could even be a bit of a head and shoulders here forming on the daily time frame as well. But I expect the most likely scenario, I'd happily be wrong, is that we top out here. Good chance that 244 is our high. We come back down, back test, like I said, around just over $2, form that weekly higher low, and get a weekly trend change here. A lot of the sector, like I said, still very bearish at the moment as well. Same thing with CGC. CGC just starting weekly consolidation, so that increases the odds on some of the names that haven't already started weekly consolidation. If you take a look at some other leaders in the space, if we bring up MSOS, hasn't started weekly consolidation yet, but again, still in a weekly downtrend and has yet to change the weekly trend. So a lot of work yet still to do, but high tide overall has held up one of the best in the sector. With that being said, if you haven't already taken advantage of the free trial, you can go to pursuitofwealthgroup.com or powgroup.ca. There's a free trial link there at the top, or just scroll down and you'll see here, get the free trial. You can click on that and you can come join the Pow Group private community. There will also be a link for this in the description and in the comment section, and you can come try it out. 7 days, take advantage of our private community, and you don't even need a credit card or anything like that to sign up. So come check us out. We do daily market live streams, 24/7 support and chat room, and tons of value in there. Like I said, you can come check it out free for a week. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. I do think something big is brewing here in Canada, and very hopeful that under this new administration something's got to give soon. And it's been a very big topic lately for the last, I would say, few years now, excise taxes, and whether or not we can get some sort of reform there. If we do, though, it's going to be an absolute moonshot if we do. And if we get rescheduling, say for banking in the US around the same time, it's just a coiled spring right now. And High Tide has been one of the best performing MJ stocks over the last, call it year or so. But just like everything else, it's an MJ stock, so it's just in limbo mode until we get some clear momentum shifting. And what we need is monthly uptrends across the sector, right? Not just retailers, producers. We need ETS, producers, retail. Everything has to confirm monthly uptrends, and we'll see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. But I'm hopeful that we're going to get some sort of improvement to the MJ industry and regulations here in Canada, and in 2025, I think there's a good chance that we get some reform in the US as well. All right, it's Rod with the Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.